Welcome to Andy and Ari On3. We are here in Green Bay live Thursday morning. The draft is tonight. It's happening right back there. The Culver's Great Wisconsin Tailgate is happening right back here. This is going to be, behind us is basically going to be a mini Culver's restaurant. There will be ButterBurgers. There will be frozen custard.
Yeah.
There will be cheese curds.
And when those burgers arrive, I will not be sitting here. So,
yeah, we're going to be doing some crowd work at that point. We may be live, but we're going to make producer River just follow us around with a camera.
And by crowd work, you mean just like me eating everything?
Pretty much. Pigskin Petey says, I'm very disappointed in your decision between Oreos and Skittles. You could always have both. This is a poll I put up on Twitter about what frozen custard I should get. And he's right. I could have both.
Well, I am pretty fired up to be here. The draft is an annual thing that everybody looks forward to. I love to see how the players that we covered in high school turned out. I like to see the sleepers. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But like being here is my first time in Green Bay. It is pretty magical place, honestly. Like,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, so humbled and grateful to be here with you and with On3, and let's have a show, man.
Let's do it. I got a tweet that I was tagged on this morning, and it's a great place for us to start today because we're going to talk about quarterbacks anyway. But we're On3. We rank recruits. That's what we do. And every draft, you get this. And it's especially poignant this draft because of who the number one pick is going to be. We already know Cam Ward's going to be the number one pick. So I got tagged in a tweet about how Cam Ward was the 0-star recruit in the class of 2020, going to incarnate Word, coming out of a wing T offense. And DJ Uiagalelei was a 5-star. Everybody wanted him. He went to Clemson, and he's going to be undrafted. And the tweet is basically, this is your annual reminder to run your own race, blah, blah, blah. And I want to be like, that's cool. But like 2/3 of the guys that get picked tonight were going to be 4- or 5-star recruits.
Yeah, I think it's the annual thing that bothers me as the or still current Mr. Stars Matter.
Yeah.
Is that if you look at how many players 5 stars are drafted, or even players in the top 100 who are drafted on an annual basis, that's 100 people. The rest of the draft is the world. You know, like, so there's going to be you know, a lot of players who aren't in the top 100 taken just because of just how math works. And I'm a bad at math person. Right. I would think if you have every human being that plays football on one end of the spectrum and players that we rated highly on the other half, and and that's only 100 people, and there are a lot of those 100 players being taken, there's a direct correlation. And like the thing that I just don't understand, Andy, is like, you know, I know that the world of college football has changed and the teams aren't but like, how is recruiting and recruiting rankings just not an infallible fact to people at this point? Like, why are we still debating this?
Well, right, because there will be players who are picked high in this draft who are busts. Like, it happens. Every 5-star doesn't pan out. Every first-round draft pick doesn't pan out because life happens. But in the aggregate, recruiting rankings are pretty accurate.
And honestly, too, like, recruiting rankings are often predicated on who the biggest, strongest, fastest freaks are. Right. And it's like, why do I have to explain, or do you have to explain to people that being a big, fast freak is more advantageous to football?
But people want that story. People want to think that everybody can do it. And the fact is, not everybody can. Like, Cam Ward was more of a victim of circumstance, I would say, than anything else. He played in a wing T.
It's harder to evaluate.
Right. They don't run the wing T anymore. Nobody does in Texas. Texas runs a bunch of spread offenses.
The thing that irritates me more than anything is, like, Cam Ward's story is amazing. Like, why can't we just talk about how amazing Cam Ward's story is? Why does it have to be in the same sentence as somebody who flamed out? Like,
right.
Cam Ward can be incredible and inspiring and awesome in his own story without it being a black mark against recruiting ranking. Like, it doesn't because he had a great run or a great journey doesn't mean that recruiting rankings aren't important or don't work. Like, both could be true, you know? Yeah. So it's just like every year, I used to run this story every year. I don't know, I'm sure somebody at On3 will do it, where I would like add up the stars of the first round draft picks, and unequivocally, it's like 35% of the first round are highly rated prospects, which is a pretty good conversion rate when you think about the 100 versus thousands.
Well, that's the thing. So there's over 2,500 new players in the FBS every year. And like Cam Ward wasn't even one of those as a freshman because he was in the FCS. So there are 32 about 5 stars per year. There are 350-ish 4 stars a year. So everybody else, the other 2,000 people, are lower than that.
Some of which might have late growth spurts. Some of which may have gone to small high schools in rural areas that didn't go to camps. Some of which might have, been misevaluated. There's a lot of different reasons why players, like sometimes the players that get ranked the highest too are the ones that are most exposed. It's not an infallible system. And when you think about the millions who play high school football, there are absolutely going to be players who slip through the cracks, much like there are players who slip through the draft cracks.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are players that are undrafted. I mean, a starting quarterback in the NFL
was Mr. Irrelevant
in the Super Bowl. Was Mr. Irrelevant. So, like, I don't think that there's ever going to be a system that's able to identify which human beings are going to be the best football players, but the ones that are 6'5" and run 4.3 40s and do things that other human beings can't do is a pretty good starting point.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the quarterback situation is so interesting to me. I was going through the different sportsbook apps this morning and looking at the odds. Right now, they've set the total for quarterbacks drafted in the first round at 2.5. And you can actually get minus odds on the over, which shocks me.
The over is the favorite there.
That shocks me.
And I don't know who they're going to be, but I do think that Shedeur Sanders' draft positioning now at 21.5 is very interesting. But the thing that I think is most interesting, and the thing that we talked about a little bit this morning, and I've kind of been in the highlight reel Twitter rabbit hole, is Tyler Shoug's rise.
Yeah,
because this is a person that's been around college football for a long time. I don't think that when he entered college football, I hadn't started podcasting yet. And
he was Justin Herbert's backup at Oregon as a freshman.
And same recruiting class, as you said, as Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, who are going into year 4?
They're in their second contract.
But at the same time, like, has had injuries throughout his career. I think one full healthy season.
This one.
And it was this past year. It was a pretty good year, but like Louisville wasn't that great. We didn't talk about him that much, and now he might sneak into the first round. And I think that, Jalen Milroe, too, to that same extent, is the star player that we talked about every week because he played in Alabama and was playing in important dramatic games, might also find a way to sneak in. So I don't know. It'll be one or the other. I don't think it'll be both.
No, I think you're missing one. I think you're missing one.
Who might sneak into the first round?
Jaxson Dart.
Okay.
If it's 3, my guess is it's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jaxson Dart. And obviously, I don't know what order Shedeur and Jaxson Dart go in.
Interesting.
That's what but Shough is a possibility too. If it's, I don't think it's going to be more than that. But I think those would be the 3. But the Tyler Shough thing is fascinating to me because it is possible that he's better in the NFL than he was in college because, usually when people have a checkered injury history, it's the same injury happening over and over again, or the same knee ligament tears. He had 3 bone breaks. Now, 2 of them were collarbone, but 3 bone breaks, 2 collarbone, and 1, I believe, fibula, so broken leg. Those cost him entire seasons, and like one of them was game 1 of one of those seasons when he was at Texas Tech. So, like, we didn't get to see a full season of him as a starter until this past year.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and
the injury stuff scares the crap out of me.
Yeah,
but then I also don't know like what's more concerning from an NFL standpoint: somebody who's had multiple ligament tears, or somebody who's had multiple bone breaks.
I think the ligament tears are more scary because the bone break seems random.
Like, I didn't go to medical school, as you know, but also too, there seems to be this thing with certain players where they are just more injury prone, and I don't know if it's because their bodies just aren't made up to be hit that way, the way others are, but like. If you have bone breaks consistently too, does that mean that you're more likely to break your bone again, or were they just
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. So we'll see with him. Jaxson Dart, I feel like we haven't really talked about that much.
Yeah,
he had a great career at Ole Miss. I think the Florida game left such a bad taste in some people's mouths at the end because the thought was this team should have been in the playoff. He had a horrific fourth quarter of that Florida game.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I was at that game, being in the interview room afterward, seeing Jaxson Dart, he was devastated.
Well, the thing that sticks out to me about that game, Andy, even more than the play, was the demeanor on the sideline of the game.
Yeah,
because you could tell he was devastated before the game was over. He was devastated on the bench,
and he had to go back out there. Yeah.
So, like, but again,
I actually don't have a problem with that because I'm fine if you care. Like, caring is okay.
No, it's not about not caring and caring. It's about whether or not you take yourself out of the game emotionally before it's over. That I thought was interesting. But, like, Jaxson Dart's been on the show. He's a good kid. He had a great career, very productive passer. But, like, as we always talk about on the show too, Andy, it's like, how do you properly evaluate a quarterback, and why is everybody constantly wrong? It's like, the thing that is interesting is that Jaxson Dart and Tyler Shook and Shedeur and all these guys are going to go, but, like, the odds are that maybe only one of them is going to be a good NFL player. That's how it usually pans out. So,
and the Jaxson Dart discussion is interesting because we have not gotten into this. We got into it last week with the Nico discussion, with Nico going to UCLA and Nico's camp saying, hey, it wasn't about the money, it was about the offense that Tennessee runs. Well, Jaxson Dart runs an offense fairly similar to that one. There are the Ole Miss offense that Lane Kiffin runs has a lot of the same roots as the Baylor Art Briles offense that all the NFL people are crapping all over. So can somebody from that offense get in the NFL and be successful? Because somebody's got to open the door for all the other QBs in that offense.
Yeah, but when you talk about quarterbacks, Andy, it's like, what do you think is the most important thing? Arm strength, accuracy, intangibles, makeup, experience, like all these different things.
Processing and accuracy for me. Those are the two most important things. Which is why I am not so low on Shedeur. Like, I think Shedeur should be a first-round quarterback.
But what's the
late first round?
So much?
I don't know. There's a billion different reasons.
So I saw this tweet that went viral yesterday about how he has a terrible interviewer or whatever. But it's just like, the guy was pretty productive in an offense that didn't have a great offensive line. I thought he did really well under pressure. There are a lot of things to like about him, but, like, now it's like there's a chance he might slip out of the first round entirely tonight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is people just like talking about Shedeur and Dion, and we do too. We're guilty of this.
Yeah.
I mean,
but his draft positioning is 21.5. Like, if you would have said that, like, if you would have taken that a month ago.
Oh, yeah, he was supposed to be a top 5 pick a month ago. Yeah.
So,
but, I've said, other than Cam Ward, I wouldn't be particularly comfortable taking anybody in the first round. Bottom of the first round, I am a little more comfortable because that person doesn't necessarily have to come in and start.
Yeah.
I feel like if you get taken in the first half of the first round, the way it works now is they're going to throw you in there. They're going to make you, even with Penix last year.
But it's the same thing in the NFL, Andy, as it is in college. Players are more apt to play as freshmen in college.
Oh, yeah.
They're more experienced, more snaps, and are better.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think back to some of the conversations we've had this offseason about freshman quarterbacks. Like, the Bryce Underwood plan at Michigan was, and it's probably not going to go this way. He's probably going to have to start week 1. But the plan was Mikey Keene starts until Bryce Underwood's ready to start.
Yeah.
Not necessarily starts all season.
Yeah, and that might be soon.
It's kind of what the Falcons did last year with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sitting and marinating anymore at any level. So that's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, I'm really interested, though, because if it does get to 3 QBs drafted in this first round, I will be pretty shocked. And I'm surprised that's the favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it'll be shocked. I'd be shocked. Because I think that if Shedeur Sanders is still sitting there, because in some of these mock drafts, I'm looking, Shedeur's not a first-round pick. And it's like, if Shedeur is sitting there at 29, someone's going to probably trade up to take
Trade up
right?
again,
That's the thing. Like, all these mock drafts can't accurately project who's going to do what. And if people viewed him as a top 5 pick at one, I'm assuming the teams are going to find him to be a tremendous value in the late 20s, especially if he's not the second quarterback taken off the board.
Yeah. Yeah. Ari, we are here in Green Bay. The great Wisconsin tailgate is going to be happening behind us. We got the giant cornhole set up. We got.
Yeah, man, that breaking it down right now feels good.
The Culver's kitchen is going to be here. We're going to have ButterBurgers, cheese curds, frozen custard.
And as it turned
all
out,
of the best things.
Andy, we are in the frozen tundra. It is freezing here. I don't know.
It's windy. It's not that bad, but
the one thing that I think warms the soul a little bit is frozen custard, right? Like that warms you up. Because what it does is it tests your internal organs with extreme cool, and then your body has to adapt to it, and then it warms up naturally.
Exactly. Now, Culver's is down where I live now. where it's very hot, and the frozen custard on a hot day you cannot beat. But I like some cheese curds on a cool day.
And I've had the
I'm gonna try that today.
And I'll take this. I'll die on this this hill forever. I live in the best fast food city in America, and like there are a bunch of Culvers where I live. So like this is a bit everything. And like also too, I know they're a sponsor, but you can go check tape on some of our old shows talking about fast food before they were sponsors. Culver's is the most underrated fast food chain in America. Like people don't talk about them enough, and I'm happy that we're here to bring awareness.
And
but like
I think
it's
part of it is
amazing.
Part of it is if you didn't come up to this part of the country, because I remember when I first started traveling for work when I was at SI, I was not really aware of Culver's until I first started coming to Wisconsin and then traveling around the Midwest. And now you can get it everywhere. And I think those of us who live in other parts of the country are getting introduced to it and finding out, oh my God, this is amazing.
Over on a play date with a buddy last week, and we were talking, so you're going to Green Bay for the draft? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, Culver's is a sponsor of the show, so they're going to bring us out. He goes, what's Culver's? I was like, what? You got to learn. So he went in Dallas after I told him to go, and he told me it was electric, because it is a very, very expansive menu, very good and very underrated.
Well, we're going to have basically a Culver's mini restaurant here behind us. And so if you are in Green Bay for the draft, come on by. We're going to be here all afternoon.
And you can use what's right behind us as like a land.
Yeah. If you want to know where we are, we're right there. Yeah. There's like a point of
emphasis. So like you can just like look right across the street. We're over here. And I think our truck is gated in here. So we're going to be here for the duration of the day. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Can I go on my rant now?
Yes, please. I've been waiting 24 hours. You went on it already with me.
Yes.
I want the people to see it now.
All right. I have been somewhat exhausted this past week listening to the discourse around Tetairoa McMillan. So Tetairoa McMillan, T-Mac to his friends. I think this is how you can tell these NFL draft people. They're calling him Tet.
They're calling him Tet, and I was like, I've never heard anybody call him Tet.
It's T-Mac.
It's T-Mac. Yeah.
And it's like, well... Yeah, I saw McShay had him at number 50 on his big board. There are some people who think T-Mac's the best receiver in the draft, and there are other people who think that he's second round talent. Guys, the Arizona offense stunk last year. Stunk. Noah Fafita took a step back. The offense was not good. T-Mac still caught 84 passes for 1,319 yards and 8 touchdowns. He was the only threat they had, and every defense they played knew it. And he still put up those numbers. I'm telling you right now, if you put him on an NFL team where the talent around him is going to be better than what he was around at Arizona relative to the competition, he's going to ball out. This is not complicated.
Andy, this isn't the rant that I thought you were going to go on. But there's another rant.
But that's okay. That's my Tyler Lockett rule. I made this rule up when Tyler Lockett played at Kansas State, because those Kansas State teams did not have a lot of offensive weapons. Tyler Lockett was the main threat. He was it. And he put up numbers every freaking week, despite the fact that every defense was geared to stop him. Same thing with T-Mac.
You know what my rule is? What do your eyes say?
Right.
Has anyone ever watched him play football before?
Exactly.
I just feel like so much of this pre-draft analysis is over-analysis. What is it? Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look at the guy. I mean, just look at him.
My favorite is he makes it look too easy. Because he makes it look easy. That's good. That's a good thing.
My 3-year-old daughter was watching an Arizona game this past week on our YouTube, and she goes, he should be a first rounder. Those were her first words, basically. It was pretty easy for her to figure it out. I don't know. I'm looking at a bunch of mocks here on our screen, which is great. And like, I see him falling pretty far in this one. So, it is not. I don't know.
The draft discourse has not been kind to T-Mac. It has not.
Yeah.
And then maybe the NFL people see something that we don't.
You know, the question that I have?
I see a guy that every defense is geared up to stop who catches a bunch of passes for a bunch of yards.
For draft positioning bets, there's a lot of those. Like we use the prop bets guys to like help guide our view of it. Is Travis Hunter a receiver or a corner? Like if it's his first receiver taken, like McMillan was a pretty heavy favorite for that, but like Travis Hunter's probably going to go 2 with Browns. So
and we don't know if he's playing receiver, playing corner. Daniel Jeremiah said something interesting the other day where he said he thinks the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter primarily as a receiver, not primarily as a corner, which is what the conventional wisdom has been. So,
that's the thing that's interesting to me is that Travis Hunter, I'm going to say this. I'm going to make some waves here. Travis Hunter is not the best receiver in the draft, is he?
He might be. He might have the best natural tools at receiver. Like everybody's making fun of his routes on pro day. Whatever. I have no problem. Like, and I read something, and I wish I could remember who wrote it, but I read something where they interviewed an NFL coach. I think it was Bruce Feldman. It was Bruce Feldman wrote this, and he had talked to an NFL coach. And he said basically he's good at all the things you can't teach, and all the things that he needs work on are teachable things. And he seems like a very teachable player. So I think that made sense to me.
Yeah. If somebody like just put you in a life or death situation and said you have to pick the receiver you want on your team for the next 10 years in the NFL, receiver only.
Oh, just receiver. Oh, yeah, because the Travis Hunter thing is different.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is the best player in college football last year. If you watched our show for even a minute, you know that we think that. But I don't know if I would take him as a receiver first with T-Mac in this draft. If you want him just as a receiver, if you just want him as a receiver,
the thing is you're not taking Travis Hunter just as a receiver. So it's harder to make the argument. It's harder to have the argument. Like, but
was he a better corner in college? Like, I don't even know what was he better at. I mean, he put up a lot of numbers.
I think he might have been better receiver.
I don't know, but Jeanty Wester was pretty productive in that offense. Yeah, too, though, you know, like.
But the thing is, like, now you're arguing. Are you arguing T-Mac versus Matthew Golden? I feel like those are two different kind of receivers. So
yeah, I guess also too, it's like there's a bunch of receivers in this draft. And it's like, what flavor do you want?
Exactly.
You want a big, guy who can go up and get it with one, or do you want somebody who's going to be innings eater, first downs and move the chains? And I mean, I don't even know how. Like Travis Hunter is kind of a combination of that, right?
I think and I think that's why you would consider making him a full-time receiver, part-time corner, rather than the other way around.
Well, the other question, too, is how much does Travis Hunter actually – he's not going to Colorado. He's going to an NFL team. But how much is he, like – you know, people used to make fun of him during the Heisman race for being, like, the best at working out.
Yeah.
Or being the best at stamina.
The best at
stamina.
That's what we had somebody in our chat that he was the best at stamina.
Yeah.
Which is a great skill to have, by the way.
But how much is that, do you think, utilized in the league in terms of how many snaps a game he plays on Sundays? Like, is that completely different?
Well, they're going to be fewer snaps in an NFL game because
percentage-wise,
the offense don't go as fast.
But yeah, percentage-wise, in a game, do you think he'll play 80% of the total snaps, or do you think it'll be like 50% of the total snaps?
I'm thinking like 65. I'm thinking like how
do you even use somebody as a situational cornerback? Like on third down,
as a nickel guy,
you put somebody in.
But the thing is. Depends on the offense you're playing because you may have a nickel corner on the field at all times.
I just feel like if you're taking somebody in the first round who can impact both sides of the football, that's a great thing. But I also too wonder, it's like if it's third down and sticks and Justin Jefferson's on the other sideline, is Travis Hunter locking down Justin Jefferson while also playing receiver in the same game?
Yeah,
the answer to that question, yes.
I don't know that Travis Hunter is necessarily that. I think you want him roaming a little more as a corner.
Yeah,
to use those ball skills.
To try to get turnovers.
Right, because if you've got somebody on Justin Jefferson, ideally you're going to put the person who makes it where they're not going to throw at Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one because you do want to use, like, I think with Travis Hunter, you're like, I have all these things I can do with this guy. But in the NFL, I don't know that you can do what he did at Colorado. I just don't know if it's possible.
Even physically.
Yeah. But we didn't believe he could do it in college until he did it. Yeah. And we're like, oh, I guess you can do it.
I mean, I don't think that people appreciate how good a shape you have to be to do that.
I don't think they. It's incredible.
There's no breaks.
No, and the thing is, like, every once in a while you'll have a run play where you don't have to run the full route as a receiver, something like that, but you still might have to block.
Like, yeah, it's not even just like the running aspect of it; it's the wear and tear in terms of hits and conflict that would wear on you.
Yeah, it's going to be. And the thing is, like, we assume the Browns are going to take him. Like, are we going to find out tonight? Like, are the Browns brain trust, Stefanski, they're going to get up and say, here's how we're going to use him? Or are they going to leave that mysterious until they get him into OTAs.
I'll tell you what, if it's the Browns, it'll be the most dysfunctional way possible. I'm excited. I strained a muscle in my neck sleeping last night, so I'm excited to see him play 80% of NFL snaps in a game. What would it be like to be that physically conditioned? Do you ever watch stuff on TV where it's like, this guy's base jumping or rock climbing with no harness?
Ironman triathletes.
Those people are able to do it. I can't even bend over and tie my shoes properly. This guy's over here scaling Mount Everest with his bare hands.
We might have stamina when it comes to the cheeseburgers later today, but I don't think we're going to be able to. How many snaps would you last in an NFL game?
I don't think I would last one. Somebody said here's the would you rather? Would you rather take $1 million, or would you rather get one carry in an NFL game, and if you get 5 yards, you get $1 million? Would you take the money?
I think I take the $1 million.
Because I think people are like, yeah, 1 5-yard carry, but it's you would get destroyed.
I take the $1 million. And I've obviously been in a lot of college football games, but I've been at some NFL games too. And when you're on the sideline in an NFL game, you will see the hole open up, and it's a hole that in a college game you're like, that's a 20-yard gain.
Yeah,
it's a 2-yard gain in the NFL. They are so freakishly fast.
Yeah,
the D linemen and the linebackers are so fast. A normal person like you or me, even if the play is perfectly blocked, is never getting 5 yards
because it would take us 2 seconds longer to get the 5-yard point, and somebody would catch you.
Exactly.
Even if it was a perfectly blocked play,
I will take that $1 million every time.
I honestly don't think that we could do anything to gain a yard in the league.
I think if the blocking was good enough, you might get a yard, but it's more on the offensive line than on you.
So, yeah.
But that is a great would you rather, though, because I do wonder how people. Because remember the Pros versus Joes show where guys just get laid out by professional football players?
Andy, I think we cut off from Twitter, right? So why don't we?
Yeah, we did.
We did? Okay. I didn't know if we wanted to tell people, but they're gone.
Well, they know. They know. There's a link below it. If you're watching on Twitter and it cuts off on you, there's a link just below there. You can click and join us on YouTube. But yeah, so we are talking about normal people versus Travis Hunter, because this is not even close to the same thing.
Yeah, normal people versus anybody in this draft.
But I guess Ashton Jeanty's a good one to talk about on that front. Though, what would you gain as a normal? Ashton Jeanty does not go down on first contact.
No,
he breaks.
That's what I love about him.
So many freaking tackles. Where do you think he's going to go? Because I feel like there's not as many super premium players at the super premium positions. So I think that leaves an opening for a great running back to go much higher than they normally would in a draft.
Well, the thing about Ashton Jeanty is this. How much of Derrick Henry can he be? And I don't know if Derrick Henry is just a one-of-one person.
I think he is. He's a cyborg.
Just the type of person that
he's
just
so much bigger. Yeah.
But if you want a running back in the top 6 and the top 5, I talked about how I loved how the NFL was going back, regressing to the mean in terms of how the importance they place on that position. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, too, wear and tear in the way that Ashton ran the ball at Boise. How many years of Ashton Jeanty do you get in the top 5 is always the question. Maybe he is also a cyborg. I don't know.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry is just big, and I think he's probably bigger and way bigger than faster. Not faster, but durable than most.
He's more durable than most human beings. So we were talking about with Tyler Shook. Are certain people not capable of being healthy through a season? Derrick Henry's the opposite of that. He's the most capable of taking hits and staying healthy.
Derrick Henry's diet too.
His diet and his workouts are insane.
Yeah. But, that to me is Ashton Jeanty, I think, will be a productive running back in the NFL. The question that I always have with running backs is how many years do you need for the pick to be worth it? Mm-hmm. And how durable and how hard is it to replace if you don't have him? I feel like there are 2 running backs in the NFL right now, and then Derrick Henry's towards the end of his career, that you would say that about.
Right. Saquon is the other. And there have been guys that were taken, Leonard Fournette was taken with that expectation. Leonard Fournette went number 4 overall, I believe, to the Jaguars.
Right.
And look, he was good. He was on that Tampa Bay team that won the Super Bowl.
Been great.
But not what Saquon was to the Eagles last year, which is what you expect when you draft
my
that
question,
high.
I guess,
The
running
Eagles
back too,
didn't
Andy, is that our NFL offense is going to start relying on running backs in a way where that feels more common, or is Saquon Barkley an alien?
I think he's an alien, but I think Jeanty may be an alien as well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it because, and I just hope. I know I said this. I think I said this yesterday on the show too, and I'm gonna say it. I'll say it every year this time of year. Do not take a running back number one unless you already have a good offensive line first.
Yeah.
It is not complicated. Like you if you have a choice, if you don't think your offensive line is very good, and you have the 8th pick in the draft, take the tackle. Get the offensive line good, and then draft the running back once you have a good offensive line.
I wonder also too, and maybe it's not this way because you need a quarterback. You just have to. But like sometimes I feel like if you don't have your offensive line, you don't have anything.
Therese asks, who's better, Travion Henderson or Ashton Jeanty? Ashton Jeanty.
Is that? Yeah, that's not even a question.
I don't think it's a question. Now look, there are a lot of good running backs, and like Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. There's so many running backs in the draft who could be good, productive NFL players. There's a lot of depth.
Yeah, the thing that I think is interesting about Trey Henderson is that he was such a home run threat. It was like I felt like in his career it was either a 2-yard gain or 2-yard loss or an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
and like and also too like his durability. He was injured a few times in college. Not a very big kid, but super fast and explosive. But I don't know that I would view him as a first round pick. I don't think he is.
Yeah, Jeanty's a different animal. Like because Jeanty can break those tackles. He has incredible balance. He has breakaway speed. Like you saw it against Oregon. He was breaking away from Oregon defensive backs. Like he's got all of it. And not many guys.
He's also a really proficient pass catcher too.
Yes.
So
I mean, he was a receiver in high school up until his senior year.
Yeah.
Again, that goes back to the recruiting thing. Like, watch senior film, guys. Like, leave some spots open in your recruiting class.
Senior film,
because I'm telling you right now, if Baylor or Texas Tech or TCU had not filled up their classes so early, they might have gotten Ashton Jeanty. Kansas ID'd Ashton Jeanty in camp before his senior year, and we're like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. But they had just gotten there. It was Lance Leipold's staff had just gotten there, and Kansas was awful.
Yeah.
So Jeanty had committed to Boise State and was like, hey, Boise State's a better place than Kansas right now. So, but like, if that had happened this year, where Kansas has had some success,
yeah, he might have been a Big 12 guy.
Maybe he does it. Yeah.
And hopefully in the future would have remained one.
Yeah.
That's
one of those great what ifs and kind of telling about Lance Leipold's staff. By the way, we're in prime Lance Leipold country here. He's a Wisconsin guy.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Whitewater won all those national titles. I believe one of his buddies owns the land that we're sitting on right now. So
yeah. I wish I owned the land that we're sitting on right now.
This is beautiful.
This is like prime land.
Look at Vince Lombardi coached back there. Bart Starr.
That's crazy.
Don Mikowski.
This has got to be is this one of the most unique sporting venues areas in the entire country?
It's so cool.
There are just residential houses right there. Like there's people who just, and I know people know this about Lambeau, but when you see it, it's interesting.
Oh my God. I'm assuming because, everything is commoditized now, that these are just Airbnb, a lot of these houses. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who just live here and love the Packers and probably walk over, which is amazing.
It'd be pretty cool if you got married to somebody who loved football as much as you do, which I think is a very rare thing in this world. Like you just found another Packer fan who was just obsessed with them the way you were. You bought a 2,800 square foot house with a basement and you just made it all Packer stuff.
Sorry,
you guys walked.
I don't know if producer River can turn one of our cameras around to see this guy. So we're early in the morning. Like this stuff's not getting kicked off here. The draft itself doesn't start for another 10 hours. And now he's disappeared. But the guy who goes to SEC Media Days, the Alabama fan who has the giant championship ring hat that he wears? This guy's a Chiefs fan. He has a bigger Super Bowl ring hat than that Alabama fan has.
He's just walking around.
Ring hat. It's incredible.
Guy.
I don't think it's Chiefsaholic. I don't think he got out of jail. That guy wears a wolf costume.
Is he still in prison?
I'm pretty sure he robbed a lot of banks.
Can you imagine if he used the wolf head to rob the bank?
I think he did, didn't he?
That would be It's a dead
This is
giveaway.
one of those true crime podcasts that you listen to all the time.
I mean, I'm surprised. If there is one out there, send it to me because I'm into it. It is pretty insane to be that.
I want this. I gotta find this guy. He's disappeared down to a tent. Like he's got to know Chiefsaholic, right? Yeah,
Andy,
did you know? When did you know?
I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a bank teller in high school.
Oh, that's
I'm not
right.
going to tell you the location or the type of bank because this would be weird.
Was it a mob bank?
You absolutely could have robbed that place.
Oh, thanks.
Like I know, like if I having worked there, I'm like, this is exactly how I would do it.
Oh, he's back.
Oh yeah,
Producer River, is there any way we can turn the camera just to get a shot? I don't know if we can. I don't know if our lenses are long enough, but this is amazing. Like this I got to talk to our friend at SEC Media Days with the Alabama championship ring hat because he is getting upstaged right now. Seriously upstaged. And of course, this guy's wearing shorts. Of course.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get the camera, but it.
He's about to walk behind us. I don't know. No, he's going the other way. Shoot, we're gonna find him later. We're gonna find him and have him on this afternoon. We're gonna be on this afternoon too, so we're gonna find him and talk to him because that is incredible. I do need to know if he knows Chiefsaholic.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. It's a small world in Kansas City, but yeah, if you want to get a detailed diagram of how to rob the bank I used to work at, just it's $100,000. I'll give it to you, and then it's all on you. But no, it's that's a crazy story.
Yes, it is. And NFL super fans
love your team that much. Is that the why he was doing it? He was doing it to buy the tickets.
I don't think it was because he loved his team. That I think he just wanted the money.
But he was using the money to be in the front row of every Chiefs game,
See, that's
every
the thing.
playoff game, and every. I mean, that's an expensive habit.
This is where we cape for college football because a true college football fan would never rob banks. They do it for pure love of their
school. Or
if
they did, the local government would figure out a way to pardon him.
Exactly.
If an Alabama fan was robbing banks to go to Bama games, wouldn't people be like, "Oh, I get it.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that's no problem."
Bless his heart.
Now it just means more.
That's right. All right. So we do have to talk about the bank, and of course, we are primarily a college football show, so we do need to talk about a little college football.
Yeah.
And what story have we not been able to stop talking about?
There's been a lot of them, but Nico's the one that comes to mind. Yeah.
Nico Iamaleava. Now, this is not entirely a Nico story, though Nico did touch off some of the dominoes that led to this event.
He was the domino.
He was the lead domino.
He was the lead domino.
Okay. So we pre-recorded our show for yesterday, so we didn't get to talk about this yesterday, and because we were on a plane yesterday when we normally air. Arkansas, the collective there, is trying to claw back $200,000 reportedly from front office sports reporter. This
clawback
America.
You said it. It's the opposite of Walmart's rollback.
It is. They are
sad face and like I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, it was a smiley face and it would fall on you.
Clawback. It's a sad face.
Yeah, it's basically here's a bill you owe us $200,000 to get out of your NIL deal that you had with us, and we are. This is happening,
Georgie.
This is happening more often now. This is not Madden's not the only person it's even happening to at Arkansas.
Yeah.
They're reportedly going after another athlete who's transferred out, and then I was told there was a basketball player who left Georgia, and Georgia got some money back.
It is an inevitability of something that has to happen, Andy.
Oh yeah,
you have to because the deal is, and you're the expert on this. Receivables aspect of this is you can't take money, go somewhere, play, be there for a few months.
Yeah, and officially you can't say it's for football because it's an incredibly stupid system where they're still pretending they're not paying them for football. But they are putting liquidated damages clauses in the contract, which liquidated damage, by the way, is the same title of the clause when you fire a coach without cause and pay him his buyout. You're paying the liquidated damages clause. The only difference with this is you cannot prevent the other person from going to the other place. But you still can expect your money back. And guess what? If you go after that person in court, you likely will get a civil judgment saying they must pay you.
Yeah. I mean, if not, then I'm going to start a car wash business. and I'm going to come to your house, and I'm going to have the tubs and soap and everything, and I'm not going to wash it. I'm just going to leave. Is that not what Matt and Yamaliava did?
Basically,
you set up, you got the soap pins, maybe a Speedo. I don't know what he was doing.
Somebody in Arkansas yesterday, and they were apparently pretty happy with him. Like they were pretty excited. They thought he had a great arm, and when Taylon Green goes off to the NFL, which Taylon Green's probably going to be at this thing next year, like that he might be the guy.
Yeah. But the bigger picture here, not even just in this aspect of like what it means for Madden himself, is what does it mean in the grand scheme of things that people who leave prematurely from places that they've had agreements.
I do think even if they don't get them to employee status, which I think they're probably headed that way. But even if they don't, if you can put some teeth in some of these contracts where it's a fairly significant amount of money you have to pay back if you leave, it will slow down the movement.
Unless the movement
is desired by the school. Yeah.
It's predicated by the deep desire from the other school that's willing to write that check for you or help you compensate back. But also, too, the hope is that Madden still has that money. I mean, like, it hasn't been that long, right? So, and that the deal that he's going to take at UCLA is equally as or more lucrative than the one he's giving up.
Yeah.
What's going to be the case 90% of the time, Andy. People aren't going to leave if the deal they're going for isn't more lucrative.
Well, they are now. There's just a lot of times they're moving to move. And some of that is
there are people who are moving to move to make less money.
Not to make less money, but to make not much more.
Yeah.
Or they just want to change teams. But
it's also, too, like these clawbacks are hopefully going to be measures that help or make people think twice before willy-nilly doing it, too.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it doesn't need to be so easy. If you're going to pay people like professionals, you should be able.
We're not talking about $5,000 here,
right? You should be able to enforce
hundreds of dollars in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So, like, real money.
I am all for athletes having agency, athletes getting paid, athletes being able to move if they want to. But if you're going to pay them like this, you should be able to expect some.
And also, too, like when you make real money, Andy, there's real consequences.
Yes,
like it's not like you have a lemonade stand out here. Like you're making life-changing money to most Americans.
Yeah.
And there's a certain responsibility that comes with making that type of money.
Yeah.
And you have to either live up to your end of the deal or you're going to have to pay it back. And that's the way it works. That's the way the world works. No one's handing out money for free. Ever. Anywhere. Well, unless they're Vegas.
Right.
Sometimes they hand it out for free.
Yeah, but they keep building those hotels higher, so I'm guessing they don't hand it out.
Sometimes there's free money, but that doesn't mean that rent's not due at the end of the month.
I was going to say, I'm guessing they take yours more often than you take theirs. So,
not today. Every day is a new day. You've seen that meme of the two people underground with an axe pick, and there's one walking in the opposite direction with dirt and diamonds behind him, and there's one that keeps going. Keep hacking. Because the longer you go, then the diamonds will fall.
What are we on today, Ari?
We're not on anything, but we also have a few hours in between this show and when we're live again to figure
so
that
when
out.
When we come on in the afternoon, which I believe it's going to be 5 to 7 Eastern time.
I'm thinking
we're going to have some tips.
I'm going to tell you what I do. What am I going to do? I'm not going to raw dog the draft. Like I've got to be a part of it somehow. I'm going to, I like Tyler Shook 3-1 to be a first round pick. I think that's an interesting one. I've got some things in the works.
Okay. All right. That's good. Talk a little more about the situation in college sports, the payments, the clawbacks, the rollbacks, the contracts. So one of the things everybody's waiting for to kind of get some more certainty, or at least just figure out what's next, is this House versus the NCAA settlement. So Judge Claudia Wilkin, who's the federal judge presiding over the case.
This was the rant I was waiting for.
Oh, this one. Oh,
you're
ready.
Know what I'm talking
you're
about.
Ready.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
I thought we were going. Yeah. I'm going to put my mic down and let you cook, King.
Well, we got to set this up first because this case has been going on for a while. The settlement has been proposed for a while. The settlement is supposed to set up a structure where it allows schools to pay the athletes directly up to $20.5 million a year. That's supposed to be a cap. We don't think it'll actually be a cap because we don't think that this enforcement arm that they're creating is going to work. But First, the settlement has to be approved, because if the settlement isn't approved, this case just goes to trial, and we already know the NCAA is going to get its ass kicked in trial. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying so hard to settle it. But here's the deal. They had a hearing a few weeks ago, and Judge Wilkin, in the hearing, a lot of the people who came to object to the settlement were people who played on teams where their roster spots are going to get cut, because one of the things in the settlement is they have these hard roster limits for all these different sports. So for football, it'll be 105. Because right now, you have 85 football scholarships, but you can take as many walk-ons as you want. So if you wanted to carry 140 players on your roster, you could. Well, once the settlement's approved, that goes down to 105. A lot of people logically, understandably said, wait a second. So I'm just going to lose my spot? Why? Like, how is that fair? And so they objected to Judge Wilkin, and Judge Wilkin in the hearing is like, you know what? It's not fair. You guys have roster spots now. You're in college. We don't want to have to make you get up and find another college. Like,
or just stop playing
or just stop playing a sport. Like, so, and she, she's talking to the lawyers from the NCAA and from the players, and she says, hey guys, just rework the settlement so you phase it in, so that the people who are in college now get to keep their spots.
Which is rational and easy.
Easy, rational, common sense.
And great, by the way.
Right.
And great.
Right, because you're not taking spots away from walk-ons.
Yeah.
Like,
the lack of future spots is a sad story, but it's not quite as sad as taking someone's spot.
Right, you're not booting somebody off the track team who wasn't even getting a scholarship anyway. Like,
yeah, and you're letting them, which is the entire point of competitive sports at most levels.
Right.
Which is to engage in an activity that,
so
enriches your life.
And their thing is, the judge is saying, okay, it's not going to hurt anybody because it's just the people who are already there. Once they're phasing out, then you can have the hard cap you want. You'll never guess what the NCAA did.
Sigh.
Given the opportunity for once to not be the asshole in a situation, the NCAA once again chose to be the asshole. This could be done. Because they could have said, yep, we'll phase in those caps. No problem. But no, they didn't. And so Judge Wilkin has to issue this order yesterday that says, I'm not approving this settlement unless you phase in the roster caps. So you now have one more chance, because basically it's an extinction event for the NCAA if this case goes to trial. You have one more chance to not be the asshole. So just don't.
And then also, too, you would think in their position, they would be like, okay, no problem.
Yeah,
you're
right.
not in a great position right now in terms of bargaining.
We have gotten beaten up and down in court, over and over again.
It's like if you were putting your house up for sale and you were foreclosing on it, or your house was being foreclosed on, and if it doesn't close in the next week, you lose it anyway. And then someone's like, can you mow the lawn? And you're like, no. Does that not happen?
That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, it's like you mow the lawn, sell your house, and get out of this.
So doing
the
common sense thing that would be the also kind thing, is the one thing they choose not to do.
Your entire point, whether it's a farce or not, is to be a governing body to enrich the lives of student athletes.
Yes.
It's that's the lie you've sold for the last 100 years.
Right. We
know to give a shit for 5 seconds.
Yeah. We know that.
Save yourself.
We know that your entire existence and all your rules were to keep them from money. That's what you were really doing. But you did pretend that you cared.
Why do you not? I guess I
actually care for 5 minutes now.
Now they're getting money. We don't actually care about these people, their lives, or what they're doing, in college. But God, it is really, honestly, the only word I can think about for that, Andy, is moronic. I mean, it's moronic.
I just don't understand. And I said,
who loses? What's the why do you think they said no? That's the thing.
Because they're worried somebody's going to use the phase-in part to cheat or to have one more good player than everybody else has. It's always something stupid like that.
And if you cheat because you have one more good walk-on, then hey, you know what? You deserve to.
If only there were a way to find out if the walk-ons were there last year.
Yeah, and also too, what would the cheating look like?
It wouldn't look like anything. It wouldn't help anybody.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's
a phase that keeps the walk-ons that you already had on your team there. It's not the addition of walk-ons, right?
Right.
So if they were already there and they were really good, they would have played.
Right, and when they graduate, that roster spot goes away.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
it's not that hard. Yeah.
I wrote for years that the NCAA needed a VP of common sense. That just every time that the NCAA made a big decision, they had this person would walk into the room and be like, "We look like a bunch of giant assholes. Let's not do this."
Yeah.
And it would have solved so many of their problems over the years.
Yeah. And it's like, I also feel like the NCAA has been such an asshole for so long that a lot of times it takes the rap for things in which it's actually not the asshole.
Right.
And that's annoying.
Yeah.
This one is just bona fide grade A stereotypical asshole.
Brought to you by the people who banned cream cheese. There's a federal judge saying that she will approve a settlement that will allow your organization to live. Because if it goes to trial, it might not.
And all you have to do is let a 19-year-old kid who's not very good at football stay on.
Hey.
That's why I said
walk-ons are people, too.
They're people. Oh, I'm fighting for them.
Some of them are very good. That's on three's Grant Firking, former Tennessee walk-on receiver.
Yeah.
But what Ari means is, and I say this with love as a former walk-on who was definitely not very good compared to his teammates.
In the top 1% of football players on earth, but
they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're just not as good as their teammates.
Yeah. Who are the aliens of the world.
Right.
So, but you get it. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't even understand. You would think that with your life on the line, the concessions that you would be like pounding your fist on the table for would actually matter. And this actually matters in a way that helps people. And it doesn't make any sense.
I bet they do it. I bet they do the phase in because
they're going to have to.
You have to. But why did it have to come to this? Why couldn't you have just done this 2 weeks ago? Like, she said it very clearly in the hearing. I would like you to do this, and I'll probably approve it. You had to do this just one more time. This is like, is this the last dying gasp? The NCAA is like, we just have to be assholes one more time. We can't quit it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is true or not, but when you die, I hear you get 7 minutes of memory. Your brain stays active 7 minutes after you die. Have you heard this before?
No.
So you think about your, first time you had fun. The first, your marriage.
First time I had
kids.
frozen custard from Culver's.
First time I had
Culver's.
Okay.
You. Yeah.
And I wonder if this is part of the 7 minutes for the NCAA is I want to remember being an asshole one more time.
Yeah. I want to remember keeping a walk-on from playing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true though. That would be cool. If you could relive
what 7 minutes you get?
I know what my 7 minutes would be.
Are you sure this isn't somebody just made this up because of the game 7 minutes in heaven?
I don't know how you could ever possibly know that.
Yes, how could you prove or disprove this?
Maybe the brain remains active or something, like hair grows or something. I don't know. I didn't go to medical school.
But yeah, is that? But listen, NCAA, and here's the thing: there are lots of good people who work for the NCAA, who are nice people, who are trying to do the right thing. But for whatever reason, whenever these things get kicked up the chain, and the groupthink starts happening, or their lawyers get involved, and their lawyers, I don't know how much they've paid them, but they've wasted their money. You could have just hired a couple of guys fresh out of law school to get their asses kicked like this. But I don't know why they arrive at these
They're in an unwinnable position, but yeah.
How do you arrive at that? 2 weeks ago, all you had to do was say, wow, this is an incredibly sensible and kind thing to do. Now, one of the arguments is some of the schools have already started to cut the walk-ons. They actually started last December, and that would be unfair to them. Then let the people come back.
Yes. You know their names.
Yes.
It's not like you're not going to bring in a ringer.
Exactly.
Because they're not on your team already.
George is going to say, Michael Williams is going to get picked in the first round here tonight. George is going to be like, hey, Michael, we're going to pay you more than an NFL team. I want you to wear a mustache.
And come back and be a walk-on.
And tell him you're a walk-on from Toccoa, Georgia, who just happened to get his spot taken away.
Yeah. I think they get it. It makes no sense.
Oh, sorry. Rant over. We're not supposed to cuss on the show anymore, but I couldn't help it.
Asshole's not a cuss.
It isn't anymore, I guess. But
Yeah.
you can say. I think NYPD Blue made it safe for the rest of us.
Yeah, it's a really good word, and it can be used in multiple ways.
I just feel like with the NCAA, stop steering into the stereotype. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it anymore.
And the thing about it, too, is that every single coach in college football that's spoken out about walk-ons has been vehemently against losing them.
Right.
Like, coaches don't want it. Like, who does it benefit?
And I can tell you right now, I was of no help to the University of Florida football team.
Maybe you were.
I was useless. I can tell you right now. But they liked having people like me around. And they were very nice to us. Like, they treated us really well. And I think a lot of programs are like that, too. And, you know, I don't understand why there would be a single shred of resistance. But that is the NCAA throughout the course of its history in a nutshell. You have a chance to do something that is common sense and kind, and you have to be dragged kicking and screaming to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, the NCAA. All right, I'm done.
That was good. That was long, but good.
Was it over 8 minutes?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay.
Was it over 8 minutes, River?
If you know, you know. YouTubers know.
Yeah. We got to feed the algorithm.
So, all right, Ari. We'll be back later today. You got to get deep into your bag to figure out.
Got to figure something out. Yeah.
What your picks are going to be. Not your team's picks, but what your picks are going to be.
Yeah.
I got under 2.5 quarterbacks. I feel very comfortable about under 2.5 quarterbacks.
Very comfortable?
I feel very comfortable about it.
Okay, well, have fun laying minus 140 on that.
Very comfortable.
Okay. I'll just take it for an obscene amount of money.
All right, let me throw another one at you. First offensive tackle off the board.
I think the best one is Calvin Banks, right? But
he's not Will Campbell?
I don't know.
Will
You're
Campbell's
the offensive line guru.
Will Campbell's one of the great mysteries of the draft because his arm length changed between the combine and pro day.
It was just mismeasured, probably.
Well, I think there's an issue with some measurements. Like, arm length was measured differently in a couple of different places this year, and it's really kind of messing up everybody's feng shui. So, Will Campbell's pretty damn good at blocking. So,
whether
his arm is
over 6.5. That's his position.
Armin Mimbu is really good. And the fact that nobody seems to care if you played right tackle or left tackle anymore.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, which is smart. I think that is a good evolution from the NFL that they've figured that out. Like,
yeah,
having a good right tackle is also extremely important. So Will Campbell, Calvin Banks, Armand Mimbu. I'm going to go Will Campbell.
Those are all really good players. So,
right.
And they're all, they're all
flavor.
top 15 picks, right?
I would think so.
So,
is there a Laramie Tunsil gas mask bong coming?
I think that was in the history of things I've been shocked to see on television. I almost said something very insensitive, and I'm not. But that was probably one of the most.
I just remember we were doing a live show at Sports Illustrated. So I was in their studio in New York. And so this was before the draft broadcast had started, and it drops. And obviously it was somebody who had one of his old iPads, and they had been, I don't know if they'd been trying to blackmail him or something, but they released it. And it was like, what is this? Oh my God. And we got it confirmed very quickly because I just checked with some people at Ole Miss. I'm like, is that him? They're like, yeah, it's him. TV was very cautious on that one. It took a while because
you remember it was still during the time when Twitter was active. So like we were all watching the draft with the computers on, and we were all looking at this, and like the draft went, I think, 45 minutes without saying anything, and then they finally showed the clip.
Right.
They showed the clip on TV.
And at that point, he probably would have been picked.
Right.
And he ends up going, I think he fell to the Dolphins at like, I want to say 18 or somewhere around there.
He's been a productive player.
He's been a very good player in the NFL. But that was just why he's talked about it now since then. Can you imagine though, like it's the best night of your life? Because, okay, that's not even a crime in most states anymore. So
I think that part of it too wasn't just the fact that he was smoking weed; it was
the gas mask,
nature in which it was being
but
smoked.
think about this. It's like you didn't commit a violent crime. It's not something like that. So you are going into what you think is going to be the best night of your life. You're about to become a very rich person because this is pre-NIL. So like Laramie Tunstall now would already make high 6 figures, low 7 figures, but you're going, into a different income bracket. Everything is about to change for you. It's supposed to be the biggest party ever. All you have to do is go shake Roger Goodell's hand, give him a hug. It's going to be a great night for you. And that drops. Can you even imagine?
Yeah, no, it's insane. And it just like, I remember at the time too, it was just how shocking it was that it was like of all the times for this to come out, because it came out during the draft.
Yes.
It wasn't like the day of or the day
minutes
before.
before.
It was like as it's starting.
Strategically leaked because the teams don't have time at that point because you've got 5 minutes.
They don't have time to like do their homework on how important. Yeah.
You don't have time.
It tanked the stock. Didn't he like fall like 10 or 15 spots lower than he was supposed to?
Yeah, he did, and which is millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So just remember, kids, never get anybody the keys to your cloud. And
do you think that was like a really effective way to smoke weed, or was it just like for the video?
I mean, it seemed. I don't know. The smoke was pouring out of the gas mask
from having the.
Well, I would think
there's a gas mask.
Maybe the gas mask wasn't very effective as a gas mask because there was so much smoke coming out of it.
The thing that I think is interesting is that the entire application of a gas mask is to stop the smoke from going in.
But you would think it would also keep it from going out so that you could get a larger volume in one.
It's like clam banking. I don't know. I'm not a big ganja guy. I don't know.
As you can tell, we have never smoked out of a gas mask before. So, but
now it's just candy.
Most expensive. Yeah, right. It would have been a gummy bear or a brownie.
Which, by the way, if I had to pick a way to smoke marijuana, it probably would be through eating carbs.
Well, listen, if you want to drug me, put in a gummy bear. That's probably your best bet. So well, poor Laramie. I feel bad for Laramie. I still feel bad for Laramie.
He's doing okay.
Let's hope nobody gets anything dropped on him 5 minutes before the draft tonight.
Unless it's a cheese curd.
Or some frozen custard. We'll be back later today. Great Wisconsin Tailgate here from Green Bay.
Come see us.
Come see us, yeah. We got the cheeseheads. I've seen multiple cheeseheads go by. We're going to find some super fans. We're going to ask that Chiefs fan if he knows Chiefsaholic. And Ari's going to have
a lot. I'm starving right now. I don't know what we're going to do.
A lot.
We are locked in here. So
we'll talk to you then.